What's up, everyone? Travis Locke here. Welcome to another episode of the Human Upgrade Project. While I'm getting ready here, I'm testing something else out here tonight. So bear with me for just one moment, one brief moment, and then you'll be spectacularized and just blown away-eyed and all that by spectacular blow away things or something like that. So, can I do this here? Yes. Again, bear with me. Just a couple seconds. I need an assistant. You know, an assistant would be really nice because then I wouldn't have to try to do like 5 things at once while I'm doing the show at the same time. But however, I'm starting to get the hang of this thing. And I think I'm getting better at this. But you can be the judge of that. So, I just shared it to my own personal timeline. That was the big thing. Woo! Look at me go. Super nerd alert every day. Nice part is, like always, there's nobody on here in the beginning. So if you see this, now is when we're going. After I have a little drink of water. So, again, Travis Lofka, Human Upgrade Project. Random squared for today. Today's bizarre national holidays are actually tomorrow's national holidays. I'll get this down. National Maritime Day is the first one. That's kind of interesting, and I'm going to read this to you because I looked this one up because I was like, I know this has to do with like ocean stuff and boats and all that, but I'm not a big fan of the ocean or boats or anything like that, so I don't know anything about it. I'm a mountain man, land lover. But I looked this up because it's a United States holiday, obviously, observed on May 22nd. In 1819, an American steamship named Savannah set sail from Savannah, Georgia, and was the first ever transoceanic voyage under steam power. Pretty cool. So there's a little tidbit for you about history and a national holiday. You never know how much value you're going to get when you come to watch me rant on and on about human upgrades. This is making you smarter, by the way, too, just in case you didn't know. The other national holiday tomorrow is, this actually will make you smarter, and it's good for your brain, too, because it rewires different neural pathways by doing this activity. And it's playing a musical instrument. Tomorrow is Buy a Musical Instrument Day. So just buying the instrument is not going to make you any smarter, FYI. You have to actually learn how to play it. So there should be a Buy a Musical Instrument Day and a Learn How to Play a Musical Instrument Day. I don't know if that's the case or not, but either way, let's get into what tonight is all about. I mentioned to you all before, in a previous episode, that at some point I would go through my little story of what happened to my leg. But tonight's episode number 9, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. That's a quote by Jim Rohn, and the full quote goes on as, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. And what made me think of that quote was driving today, and just every day in general. It's really funny if you sit back and you watch other people and you watch how they interact in society. And when something goes wrong in their life, or something goes wrong in one little aspect of, oh, the light turned red, I pulled up to a stoplight and it was red, and or this person cut me off, and maybe they didn't see, maybe they were being the douchebag, I don't know, it doesn't matter, right? How do you react to that? And watching how people react to that says a lot about them in general, but it also says a lot about how they handle problems in their life. When a little thing comes up and they freak out about it, what happens when a big problem shows up? What happens when something that's not even a problem shows up, but then they categorize it as a problem because they're focused on problems all the time instead of solutions? You have to acknowledge a problem, but then figure out how to fix it, really. So that's one thing I always try as hard as possible. More often than not, I like to focus on solutions to things, even when it is a monumental problem, issue, or whatever that has come up. For example, this lower right quadrant of this body, specifically my calf, well, actually it was my hip that had this little issue, but I'll go back to the beginning. Here is why this was such a little snafu, foobar thing that was a little frustrating. So at the beginning of the year, of this year, of 2019, I had just finished a couple weeks prior and just finished doing the Nutcracker. That went really well. I'd taken a little time off, was doing some experiments and some things. I did my sleep deprivation experiment, which is kind of ironic since I'm focused so much on sleep now. Did that. That was great in a twisted sort of way. And right before the new year, or right after the new year, because that's when I do my sleep deprivation thing, I sat down and I was like, most people do New Year's resolutions. I don't do New Year's resolutions because technically January 1st is not a new year. It's a calendar new year. My birthday is my new year. And if you want to get technical about it, 9 months before my birthday is my new year, but whatever. that's really grasping for stuff right there. Anyways, the first week of the year, I started my training back up, my powerlifting training. I talked to my coach. He put together a program for me. And in this block, I was just getting back. I was doing an off-season cycle. Cool. Everything was going good. But during that week, I also was starting to realize, and I had realized this before, but I was starting to realize the massive amount of physical and mental, like, what I had on my plate coming up as far as powerlifting and ballet go, along with everything else that I really like to do because I'm a super geek and all that stuff. So I spend that first week getting back into my powerlifting training and also dialing in my nutrition as well as I can, talking to people I know that are smarter than me about nutrition or specialize in certain areas. Also talking to friends of mine, a friend of mine, and another gym here in town, here in Fort Collins, FYI, Curly Fitness. My buddy Justin over there, the guy is a genius when it comes to functional fitness and all of that. He knows a lot about everything else. But I talked to him. We were going to do some work together as far as keeping me functionally fit to balance ballet and powerlifting. I had my coach. We were dialing things in specifically for powerlifting. I was talking with another good friend of mine down in Phoenix, Arizona, about doing some other, crazy out of the box things for recovery, because what I had planned out was ballet classes 3 times during the week. Then I was going to drive to Denver on the weekend for partnering class, doing modern class on Friday morning, and potentially a contemporary class. along with training minimum 4 days a week, moving to 5 days a week with powerlifting. So obviously it's pretty important you got to get things dialed in, because that is not a normal schedule, and working on top of that and doing everything else that I do, and now doing like this. And even though this is awesome, this isn't even like work. This is just fun that I get to share what I hope is helpful for all of you. So I get all this stuff, I'm getting it dialed in. I'm just super stoked about starting all this up, because on top of all the classes and everything else, rehearsals for The Little Mermaid, which was the spring ballet, rehearsals for that were starting at the same time. So I had all this stuff dialed in, just started my training back up. Sunday morning, January 6th, I wake up in the morning feeling good. Those mornings you just wake up and you're just like, yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's rock this thing. I'm going to be starting rehearsals in a couple days. Training's going on track. Things are dialed in. It was a nice day outside. It was sunny. I mean, it was just like, really, like, how's this getting any better? So around 10 a.m., so I'm just doing stuff around my kitchen, cleaning and doing whatever. And around 10 a.m., my gluteus medius, my butt, for lack of a better, to get out of the technical realm of things, my hip, butt area muscles on the outside here started tightening up. I don't know if you've ever been sore from working out or moving or doing anything. It starts kind of slow, right? You're like, ooh, I'm a little stiff. Oh, it's getting a little more sore. And that's what it felt like. It was no big deal. Training felt great. Everything else felt great. No issues at all. But it kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter over the next hour. And so I was sitting down, I was stretching it. I was just like, this is getting more and more sore. I probably should go sit in the sauna, go to the gym, because I like the sauna. That works well for recovery if you do it at the right time and all that, just like ice baths and everything else. So I go to the gym to get in the sauna. Worst idea ever in the history of everness. Worst idea ever. I didn't know that at the time. But I went and got in the sauna, and in the sauna, it got worse and worse and worse. And by the time I was done, by the time I was like, oh crap, this is actually making it worse, I should stop, I went and got dressed. I literally could barely walk to my car. It was getting to the point where it was like, this is more painful than anything I've ever felt before. But it hadn't actually gotten to that point, but we'll get there. So I make it to my car, but as I'm walking there, I realize, oh man, this is loosening up. Okay, cool. I'm gonna walk around the building a couple times. That made it even better. Went and walked on the treadmill a little bit, and then left to go home. And when I did, it started tightening up again. It got to the point where it hurt so bad, like it didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter. I don't even know how to explain this pain. I used to be a bull rider. I've done things that I've dealt with a little bit of pain before in my life. And this was nonstop, never ending, mind numbing, make you want to cry and curl up in a little ball and rock yourself. And just, it was so bad. Funny part is, though, so it's just a mind-numbing pain. Here's the funniest part of the whole thing. This is, you have to look for the funny parts of things. And I actually laughed about this while this was happening, because if you don't, I would have just lost my mind. But my office here is upstairs in my house. And I've strained my back a little bit in the past doing things. And I don't know if you've ever had that happen, but if you lay on your stomach and you put like pillows or something underneath your hips and you're laying on your stomach, it props you up a little bit, takes pressure off your back, and feels really nice. I didn't know if that would help this or not, but I was trying everything. So I have a cot in my office for naps and meditation and all this stuff. And so I grabbed pillows and things off my cot, and I'm rolling around on the floor, like literally rolling around on the floor with these pillows. And I roll over into this like weird position. I'm all rolling around. I roll over, and when I do, the pain stops. And it had been so intense. I rolled over. When it stopped, I was like, I'm not moving. That's my immediate thought. The second thought was, I exhaled. My arms were like this. I exhaled. I'm laying like on my stomach, kind of, and immediately fell asleep. I was out cold because that's how much just stress and everything else. So here's the funny part. I'm out cold. I wake up like an hour. It was about an hour later. I wake up, I look at my watch. I was like, oh God, the pain is back. But I slept for an hour. That was amazing. Oh, this pain. And then I get up because I'm like, well, I got to figure something out. I stand up. And because my arms were crossed underneath me, well, the other thing too is my head was all sideways on the floor. So I'm drooling all over the floor. I stand up and both of my arms are completely asleep. So I'm drooling all over myself and I got pterodactyl arms. And I'm like, it hurts so bad. It was, oh God, it would hurt. Jeez. It was so bad. It was so bad. And my arms, I couldn't feel my arms. Anyways, this went on for 3 days. 3 days. I barely slept. And it's ironic because I did a sleep deprivation experiment. I do one every year. This is a little different. Barely slept. I went searching through all of my tubs and boxes and things because I don't keep medicine because I don't usually take any medicine for anything. But I remembered at one time I had some ibuprofen. So I went and I found this box and I had this ibuprofen in it. I'm like, oh, it's not expired. Okay, cool. So I took 4 of those things. Like the max, they were like max ibuprofen, whatever, I don't know. And then literally as soon as I took them, I realized, oh, well, that was stupid because, like, I don't know why. There are a lot of things that don't affect me like normal, and ibuprofen is one of them. But I was just so focused on trying to get rid of the pain, I didn't care, or I wasn't thinking. So I take these 4 ibuprofen, and then immediately I was like, well, that's useless. That's not going to help at all. And it didn't at all. So I was like, sorry, liver. I apologize for the undue stress that you're going to go under now, taking like double the amount of ibuprofen that you're supposed to take. So yeah, so that didn't help at all. 3 days of this goes on. It stops. The pain stops, and when it did, the bottom of my foot went numb. Just the bottom of my foot. I was like, oh, this is weird. The other weird thing, though, is my calf muscle, my right side, literally just shut off. Like somebody just clicked a light switch or cut a wire. Snip. No more worky. I wish I had video of it or something, because if I went to step down on something like this, my foot would just collapse. It didn't. Somebody could have put a gun to my head or said they were going to give me $1 billion if I did a calf raise on my right side, and I couldn't have done it. I would either have been dead or not had $1 billion. And it did not matter how hard I tried. Trust me, I tried. So when that happened, I was doing everything: physical therapy, acupuncture, dry needling, soft tissue work, Pilates. I flew down and saw my buddy that I'm going to be doing an interview with on here, hopefully soon. All the stuff that he did to get actually it helped the most out of everything I've done. And I also, so I was doing everything I could. But before I started doing all of that, while I was doing that, so they're like, oh, it's probably a sciatic nerve thing. And they're like, does this hurt? And they're poking on my back and stuff when I went to physical therapy. I'm like, no. They're like, well, so I did all this research on sciatic issues. Apparently it's like a back problem. I didn't have a back problem. I'm like, no, my back doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all. There's no issues with my back. Well, do you have shooting pain? No shooting pain. Tingling, numbness, and you're like, no. None of the standard symptoms. I had the numbness on the bottom of my foot for a week, and that was it. So that freaked me out, mainly because that was 2 days before I was starting rehearsals for the Little Mermaid, and in this spring ballet, I had the most technical piece that I have ever done since I started ballet, and I physically could not do it. Like, didn't matter how hard I tried, just didn't work. So after I got over that shock and just being, lack of a better term, just pissed off at everything, I sat down, and this quote is a perfect example. I sat down, and instead of just wishing things were better, I created a plan, and I was like, well, I can do work on my computer from just about anywhere. The gym has Wi-Fi, so I started going there literally every single day for anywhere for, there were some days I spent 16 hours at the gym on a timer, I don't know where my watch is, with a timer on my watch, and every 57 minutes and 57 seconds, I would go walk and do exercises. I do stability exercises, walking exercises, frontwards, backwards, sideways, hot tub exercises, pool exercises. Basically created an entire rehab routine. Ran it by my physical therapist. She's like, yeah, that's great. Maybe do this and this too. So those all helped. The thing that freaked me out and that was the most frustrating part of this all, and this is why I say it's not about always just focusing on the solution. You have to focus on the possibility of the solution also, because I've never had an injury that lasted more than like, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks, maybe. I've never been incapacitated to the point where I physically couldn't do something. So, and this is still not back to my version of 100%, which is 113%, because that's better than 110%. So my main point around talking, I don't want to get too far into this because I'll be out here forever talking about this, talking about the story. There's some other points that I'm going to point out here in just a second, but the biggest thing is what's possible. We don't know a lot of times what is possible, but if you stop and you don't try, then you're not going to know. And if you spend all your time focusing on the problem, you're going to be focusing on the problem. So that's why I got back into my sleep, focusing on sleep for recovery, focusing on my nutrition for inflammation and everything else. I was taking every kind of herb and supplement and everything that I could. Normally I don't do that all at once because I like to test things, but I was like, I don't care, just give me it all. Just get it all in me. And doing all the acupuncture and the everything else just to make it work. I missed the first like 5 weeks of rehearsal, me and my partner, for the piece that one of the main, my pas de deux partnering scene in Little Mermaid. So when I was able to pretty much perform, we crammed in like 12 or 13 weeks of rehearsal into like 6 weeks. So that was fun. We did it. It worked. But staying focused on the end objective of what you want is not always easy. And the one thing that I do to make sure that I do stay focused on that, every day I make a list of at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And that right there, and I have times where I'm like, during the day, during the process, it was like, I hated going to the gym. I hated going there. It was awful. I'd wake up in the morning and be like, great. I get to go spend another 12, 14, 16 hours at the gym on a routine trying to make this leg calf work again, and I don't want to do it. It was just monotonous, mind-numbing, but I had something bigger than me that I was working towards. For one, I had my objective for myself to get back into my powerlifting, but I also had people relying on me at the ballet school for the performance. And that's another thing besides being grateful for the things that you can be grateful for, is, and I've said this in another episode, is be part of something bigger than yourself. Because when something like this happens, and you don't know when it's going to happen, because I have no idea what caused this, when something out of the ordinary does happen, if you are part of something bigger than yourself, then it gives you no out to feel sorry for yourself and to be like, I can't do this anymore, this is too hard, blah, 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 blah. Because if I had done that, then I would have let everybody down at the school and for the performance, and let myself down. Yeah. What's up, Yuri? Going through this whole story of my calf. I don't know if I've told you the whole thing or not. There was another part I was going to put in here too. I'll think of it and do it in another episode. I'll think of it before we're done here. But you don't always have control over everything. And if you're not focused on what the end objective is, then when something gets in your way and unexpected things happen, it's going to throw you off, and you're not going to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish in the end. Like for right now, I was planning on going to nationals again for powerlifting. As of now, it's not looking completely likely. It's still a possibility, but we'll see what happens. So, like I said in the beginning, that Jim Rohn quote, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. And don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. Thanks, Yuri. There was one big aha I had. And I'm going to leave you hanging with that big aha, because as big as it was, I've been racking my brain. I started rambling on about different things as we were going here. And like I said, it'll come to me. The biggest thing is not to stop. One foot in front of the other. It's about progress, not perfection. What's the next thing you can do? And the next thing you can do? And the next thing you can do? And if that doesn't work, what's the next thing you can do? And if you don't know the answer to that, what if you did know the answer to that? Or do you know somebody that knows the answer to that? A lot of these things I didn't know answers to. I'd never had anything like this before. So I talked to people I knew that I don't know if they knew anything or not, but some of them gave me some really good ideas, and some of them gave me really dumb ideas. and then I ended up calling my buddy down in Phoenix, and he totally fixed me up. I'm going back to see him next week to get even more fixing up. So, with that said, I'm going to start doing little mini series in this as a show, right? Because I've been focusing on sleep a lot, along with these little stories interjected here and there about perseverance and dedication and staying focused on what you are wanting to achieve. And the little mini series are going to be around, like I'm going to do one. So sleep is obviously still on the board. I'm putting together all my notes, and I'm up to like 50 pages right now of content that I've put together in that thing. It's pretty insane. But along with that, I'm going to get a little bit into the science of certain things, the things that I'm trying, the things that I'm going to recommend in this huge guide. I don't know if I'm going to call it an ebook now or what, but it depends on how many pages it is by the time I get it formatted and all of that. But I want to get into the layman stuff, the regular stuff. That, I mean, I don't always nerd out, but I also want to nerd out on some of the stuff and get into why things like vitamin D are beneficial for sleep. Why things like, what are the processes that happen within your body when you go outside and get sunlight and vitamin D that way, or exercise or meditation or just breathing or any of that. What happens physiologically and mentally to make you sleep better and just to make you better in general. And with that said, I think I am all wrapped up. This was a little longer than normal. And as I said in the other episode, I think I said this the other night, I'm going to be doing this Monday through Thursday. I haven't set a specific time every day yet. Monday through Thursday will be for sure. Friday, Saturday, Sunday are going to be optional. And we'll see what happens when I'm out of town, how that'll work. I may do remote via my phone because technology. So quick recap. Make sure you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve, even if it's a clear vision of a broad objective. Because then when roadblocks and things come up, and they will, you will have more focus on why you're doing what you're doing with the vision that you have. And even better is to sit down. I'd never thought of having an injury like this before, where I was out for now going on 5 months. But now I know that this could happen, and I will plan for that in the future. I'm not going to plan for it, but I know it's something that might happen. So what if something crazy happens? Here's what I was thinking about previously, and this is my big last, think about this one. This is what happened to me. Imagine that you're going about your life. Everything is going normally. Not super or super awesome, not super, super terrible. It's good. Things are good. You're making some plans for the future. And then one day you wake up, and for no apparent reason, all of a sudden, everything changes. And you literally cannot do the two things in life that you enjoy the most at this point in your life? I have a lot of things that I really, really like to do, but I put a lot of things on hold to focus on powerlifting and ballet. And within an hour, on January 6th, poof, gone. Like, I mean, I wasn't like super freaked out or anything. I was just, like I said before, I was just pissed off. I'm like, this is not going to stop me. I am going to fix this thing, whether it kills me. But that was a rude awakening when I, all of a sudden, all of the time and effort mentally and physically that I put into so much work into two things, and then just like magic, all gone. And what made it more frustrating than anything, and when I talk about the frustration, I'm talking about that from the other night, right? Yeah, you'll learn something when you get frustrated. The thing that was most frustrating about it was I don't know what happened. Like, it's not like I got hit by a bus. It's not like I had an injury from weightlifting, from powerlifting. It's not like I fell down some stairs or got struck by lightning or none of that. It was literally just like God reaches down. It's like, you need to have some perspective on how awesome just being alive is, and how great it is to live where you live and be where you're at in your life. So here you go. We'll just turn that off. Have fun with that. So it puts things in perspective real quick, and it makes you super determined to achieve new levels. I tell my coach all the time, I'm like, dude, when I am back to my 113%, watch out. I'm going to blow my numbers out of the water that I had before. And I'm not saying I'm like this all the time, every day, always super positive and like, go, go, go. I'm going to just be super Travis. Because nobody's like that. But again, more often than not, I'll be like, you know what, right now sucks. Not more often than not, I don't say that. More often than not, I flip it and be like, you know what, when I do have a moment that quote, quote, sucks, it's like, you know what, this sucks for right now. But not forever. So what am I going to do to make it past this? What can I do? Because sitting here whining and complaining about it doesn't do me any good. And if I whine and complain to anybody else, it doesn't do them any good. Doesn't make a difference. The more you complain about something, the more you complain about something. That's it. It doesn't do anything except just use up oxygen. Precious oxygen. So no complaining. You can state facts. It's only complaining if, here's the difference between complaining and stating facts. Complaining is just pissing and moaning to hear yourself talk and let other people commiserate with you about how crappy things are. Stating a fact, it's the exact same thing as the complaint, doesn't come by itself. Stating a fact about a situation comes with a solution or a potential solution to make that fact null and void. Boom. So, I missed it. Vonna joined. Let's see. I can cry and throw out a tantrum. Yeah. Well, I throw tantrums. I just do it in private. And then I move on. So you got to do it every once in a while, right? Kick and scream, and then when it's all done, then you can move on and figure out a solution. Let me read this real quick. I've been on here for a long time tonight, so I'm going to read through real quick. Yuri had something. Oh, we'll take that offline, Yuri. I don't want to get too much into like specific like workout stuff and things like that, since this is all mind body. Human Upgrade Project is all mind body, but it's mind body in the realm of life and the whole big picture, not just specifically like a diet or a workout or whatever. However, I will talk to you about that, about the squatting and stuff like that, because it is important. So with that said, I'll see. I shared this over my personal thing tonight, so that was kind of interesting. It took me a second to do it, so like I said, I'm gonna eventually find an assistant, get a proper microphone. That would be really nice. Also, I have one. I have this thing, just so you can see it. I have this thing, super nice mic, but it's so sensitive that it picks up. It's a long story, but it's super sensitive, and it's feelings get hurt all the time because it's so sensitive. So don't get a Blue Yeti mic. It's the snowflake of mics. So sensitive. And with that said, I am going to. I'm not sure what I'm going to do now. I'm still working on my schedule for sleep. I've got some really interesting things. I'll end with this. I've got some really interesting things that I'm trying, that I'm also going to be putting in this guide that I'll be putting out for everybody. So stay tuned for that. If you know anybody that wants to get better quality sleep and sleep better, and like I have notes from so many books and so many podcasts and so many of my own tests. Right? Like I said, it's up to 50 pages, I think, right now. And that's all single spaced. Like, I don't even have it format. I'm gonna have to like pay somebody to format it for me and organize it, because it's just crazy with like a journal, and went a little overboard, but that happens sometimes. So with that said, make it an amazing day and night, because it's better than the alternative.